Welcome everybody to today's video. Today we are doing yet another review video. Today we're taking a look at the brand new 2020 iPhone SE. As you all probably already know, the new iPhone SE is the iPhone that Apple just released back in March. This is Apple's budget iPhone. If you all remember, they came out with an iPhone SE back in 2016, about 4 years before this phone right here came out. And a lot of people really like that phone. Some people are still on that phone, and it's very outdated at this point. This phone comes in at about $400 from Apple. That's baseline, starting at 64 gigs, and you can go up from there. This phone comes in red, white, and black. Those are the three colors that it comes in. They all look super, super good. They have that nice looking glass back, so they have wireless charging, which is a very nice feature, kind of something you almost expect in 2020. Pretty much the first thing you notice about looking at this phone is the nice gigantic bezels that it has on it. You might be thinking, why am I going to pay $400 for a phone that has bezels that look like that? It's 2020, for crying out loud. We don't want those bezels anymore. Those are a thing of the past. And yes, that is a pain, but the reason this phone is so cheap is because they didn't have to do a redesign. They're just using essentially the old iPhone 8 bodies, so they didn't have to design a whole new phone. That's a lot of why this phone is so cheap. So let's just talk about value a little bit. This phone comes with the same chip as the iPhone 11, so it is just so fast. This thing flies through iOS. This thing will be able to update as long as the iPhone 11 and 11 Pro will be able to update. So you'll be able to have this phone theoretically for years and years to come. So you're paying $400 for a brand new iPhone and iOS in 2020, which is just really impressive. So let's talk about the camera. This is a pretty impressive camera, but it comes with just some of the dumbest stuff you'll ever hear of in your entire life. So let's start at video. This camera can shoot down at 720 at 30 frames per second, and that goes all the way up to 4K at 60 frames per second. Tons of options in between there. You can shoot 4K at 30 and 24. So if you're doing vlogs, you have that 24 frames option, which is actually really, really cool. 24 frames is definitely something that you want if you're into video. As far as slow motion, this shoots HD in 120 and 240, which is really, really good and slow. HD, it just says HD, but I'm guessing HD is the lower res HD, which would be 720. So it's not going to look great at that resolution, but that is very, very slow. So that's cool. As far as pictures, it does have portrait mode, and it takes impressive portraits. Here are a few of the portraits from the iPhone SE. But there is a huge, huge drawback to portrait mode, and that is that it only works on faces. I have no idea why it only works on faces. There's no reason that it should only work on faces. I don't really know if this was just like a budget move by Apple, or it's like you're paying less, you get less. I don't really know. It has a good processor. It should be able to take portraits of anything, not just faces. But it can't do that, so I mean, that's okay. It still takes decent photos. It's just really sad to miss out on that portrait. Most of the stuff I want to take portrait of is not faces. That is one of my least favorite things about this camera, and really just about this phone. That's one of the biggest drawbacks for me. I, of course, do focus pretty camera heavy. I love cameras. I like having a good camera on my phone. It's a little bit disappointing that it's a lot disappointing that this does not work on just anything. So moving on to the size of this phone. The screen size on this phone is 4.7 inch. If you want reference to that, that would be like the iPhone 6, 6S, 7, and 8. So this has the old-fashioned button. May not be accustomed to anymore. Just kind of like the old phones. See, some people prefer the button and thumbprint. I think Face ID is a better idea. This phone does not have Face ID. It's still the thumbprint. This button on the phone does not actually press, but it has like a little vibrate that makes it feel exactly like you're pressing it. It's really weird. So like if your phone goes dead, you'll notice the button doesn't actually click. So if you use like a pen or something and try to click it, it won't move. It feels really weird, because kind of in your head it clicks because it feels just like it does, but it's not actually moving, which is nice. It's one less thing that can go bad. Your button won't wear out that way. because it's not actually a moving part in the phone. The speakers on this thing are so impressive. They can really, really pump it out. Let me give you a little test right here. All right, here is a little bit of the speaker test. Not too bad. It's really honestly impressive. It has that 3D sound with it coming out these bottom speakers right here, and then also this speaker at the top of the phone. So this is it next to the iPhone 11. You can see a significant size difference there. So if you're someone who's into these smaller phones, this might be a really, really good option for you. Like I said, this has the same processor as the iPhone 11, so it is super, super fast. It runs high-res games very, very smoothly. Really, really big games. This thing runs like a champ. Here's why I think this phone is worth $400 in 2020, even though it has these big bezels and some other problems that I'll get to in just a second. It has a really impressive video and decent photo camera. It has iOS, which honestly, guys, iOS is so expensive these days. The fact that you can get it working really, really, really well and you'll be able to get updates long into the future for this price is really impressive to me. You are getting the same processor as in the most expensive iPhone out on the planet right now, which is just really impressive. It's a really, really fast phone. But this is not a perfect phone. This is definitely not to say that this is a perfect phone. Every phone has its flaws. Some phones bigger than others. Flaws are obviously bigger on a cheaper, more budget phone like the iPhone SE. And that biggest drawback has to be the battery. They kind of just botched it when it came to the battery. I pretty much have to charge this thing once a day. Maybe not full charge, but I'll at least have to plug it in or set it on my wireless charger at some point throughout the day. It'll usually get me to about, say, 6 o'clock in the day, and then it'll either be dead or it'll be at like 20%. A percent where I don't feel good about, going and doing something in the evening without giving it a charge. And that is a huge bummer. I mean, it feels like a sad place to fall short on such a great phone. But also, I do use my phone really hard. I game on it quite a bit, which just eats battery like no man's business. So, I mean, there is that, but I have heard that it is just generally isn't a great battery. So there are some pros and cons for the 2020 iPhone SE. Let me know what you guys think, and if you guys think that this phone is worth $400 in 2020, I think it's super, super cool that Apple is continuing the iPhone SE line. I hope to see a third one at some point. I think that would be absolutely awesome. Maybe in that one they would use the old 10 bodies or the old 10R bodies, something like that. I think that would be absolutely awesome. I hope they keep this SE line going. I think it's a very lucrative line for them. So I want to know if you guys have this phone or if you are looking to buy this phone. Drop a comment down below if you have any questions at all. I would be very happy to answer them for you guys. It's been a little bit since I've been on YouTube, but I am back. I've just been slam-packed busy. But school starts up before too long, and I should have some more free time then to work on my videos a little bit more. So I do have some wedding stuff coming up, and also I'm working full-time right now, so uploads may be a little bit spotty throughout this next, few weeks here before school starts back up. But I'm gonna do my best to keep videos coming out for you guys. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this review. If you have anything else that I missed about the iPhone SE, also drop those down in the comments below. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you watching. I'll see you all hopefully next week. That you may have not be accustomed to. This phone does not have Face ID. It's Face ID. Drop a like down below if you found this review helpful, or screw it. I mean, come on. Ugh, looks so good. Here's why I think this phone is worth $20. That's not what I meant to say.